Hey guys, it's me, Twisted Faye. I hope everybody's having a great day. If you haven't visited my channel before and you're new here, I'm a traditional and digital artist. This is actually my first month showing anything of my own traditional art of how I draw or anything like that. So today I thought I'd talk a little bit about the materials that I use. I know yesterday I showed like a little bit of it, but you guys didn't quite see everything. So normally what I do is I start out with my Canson sketchbook. It's a mixed media sketchbook and I really love it. I've gotten into the knack of sketching with a red pen. I've been doing that now for years. I don't know why, I just love sketching in a red pen, and then like if I want to make it solid, I'll go in with a black inking pen that I have. Unfortunately though, I found out the hard way, it is not waterproof. So I have to do, if I want to do any shading or anything like that with my ink pens, I have to run that first and let it dry before I can ink over it for the line art and stuff. So I thought that was pretty interesting, but it's not the one that I use for here. On this one, on all of them, I use that one particular, the Copic multi-liners, because they don't bleed. The other one is just for my sketchbook. But yeah, so normally what I do, obviously you guys saw me, I just draw a little quick sketch. I try to come up with a name or something that I think would be good at the moment. Sometimes it'll pop up later at the end, like today's did for me. And then I switch it over to a Canson illustration board. It's a 9 by 12 board. And I really like it. It absorbs the water pretty well, but if you put like heat on it and stuff to dry the water, it starts to warp. But it's not bad because you can always re-straighten it out if you want. You could even just put something heavy on it for like a couple of hours and boom, it's straight again. So I really like that. I've been drawing on this type of board now for quite a few years. The reason I did it is because I wanted something that wouldn't wrinkle or shrink up or anything, because I was using bristle board, and I like the texture of bristle board. So I decided to give this a shot to see if it would do it, and it said it was illustration board, so I was like, hey, why not? And ever since then I've stuck with it. However, it's not easy to get lines out of at all. So that's the only bad thing. Then after that I use masking tape, or if you want to call it painter's tape, whichever it is you'd like to call it or you know it as, that's what it is. It comes in different colors. I've seen like the beige or tan one, I've seen this blue one, I've seen a green one, I've seen a purple one. Like, it doesn't matter what color you're getting, they all do the same job. I thought it was a good idea to try to use my bone tool just to make sure that no water seeps under, but I shouldn't have done that because that made the painter's tape actually stick to my board and it ripped up some of the little bit of the board paper on it. It's not bad, I mean, but you know, it's still there. So it's not noticeable, but it's there. From there, I actually found my Pentel little lead pencils and stuff, and I prefer drawing in a lead pencil thing rather than the actual like wooden pencils. I mean, I like my Verithin Prismacolor ones, and I love my Faber-Castell one as well, but they come more in handy for like watercolors and stuff like that because it does more of the effect that I need it to. But I switch between this one and the other one. I just want to give this one a shot again because I haven't used it in so long. So they both have their pros and their cons. This one comes up showing more on my scans and everything, so that's the only issue I have with this one, where the other one doesn't. The Verithin doesn't. I don't know what happens to it, but it just doesn't really pop through. So that's what's nice about that. So we'll see. Either that or I have to adjust my colors on my screen to put it all to black and white to get rid of it that way. I haven't really thought about that, but I probably should. Who knows? Anyways, but yeah, I don't mind it showing up anyways. It's pretty cool. I like that like sketch and like that final inking thing all in one together. It makes it pretty interesting, I think. Like it doesn't lose like any of the movement or anything like that, like when you go to do the line art and you erase everything. So yeah. So you see me here, I'm testing out a few different gray tones and everything, as you saw me, and what I do is I like to pull out my my sketch pad and go over with it as you saw me do, and do the paint swaps, because I don't do a paint swap once I start this to correct the values or anything. I just wing it. Like literally, I go with my gut. I can't sit there and come up with a color palette. I like coming up with a color palette as I go. That just works out more in favor towards me. So yeah, I don't know how some artists do it, but they must have a lot of patience to work at it, like miniature sketches with all those values and finding the right ones and remembering how to do it just in case, how to remake it just in case they falter and they use up all the ink, well, like I do majority of the time. So yeah. So what else was I going to say? Oh, the ink that I do use for now is I've actually switched between ink. So last year I used the Black Star, Dr. P.H. Martin's Black Star matte ink, and that's all I used last year. This year I'm using Japanese Sumi ink. I can't remember the name of it right now, and it's inside of my cupboard, but I don't want to go inside my cupboard because that means I have to turn on my light, and I'm lazy right now. Like, I'm editing this video at 3:29 in the morning on Saturday. Like, I don't want to go looking for things and rummage around to find the names. But yeah, so that's basically all I use. I also use another ink as well. Like for yesterday's, I used a Noodler's ink. Yeah, it's Noodler's ink, and I got their crimson red one, and it looks phenomenal. I love it. It literally looks like blood, and it dries like blood on my porcelain plate too, because I'm lazy and I leave that stuff to dry so I can rinse it out the next morning. And I love it because it's porcelain, so the porcelain tray doesn't allow the black or the ink to stick to it, which would make my water muddy like my plastic one did. I learned my lesson from that one last year. And you guys will see like smoke coming in. I do vape, so yeah, that's what's going on with that smoke. I also liked this marbling technique too. I don't know how to explain it. You just put the paint on and then you grab like just normal untainted water and do that little thing, and it makes those pretty interesting little designs and stuff. I love that. Like, I love the texture that it adds to it. It's just like staining it. Although I think I overdid it personally now that I'm going back to watch it. But it's okay because I figured out other ways to add values to it and stuff later on, or more values. I did cheat. So I get impatient sometimes, so you'll see me pull out my heat gun. I got it from Amazon. It wasn't too badly priced. I think it was like $19 or something, maybe less than that, $17, maybe it was on sale, I don't know, but I love it. It's freaking amazing, and it will push the water where I want it if I get really close to it too. That's how I was doing all those weird little design thingamajiggies, because normally if you hold it up above it, it will dry and you don't have to worry about that happening. But that's literally, I did that on purpose, so don't think that it's like a hair dryer. I am like uber up close with this thing. So yeah, I don't know. I had fun on this. I like the story. So my boyfriend and my friend, you'll see her on like, what is that thing called? Twitch. She's Desert Mermaid. And I finally told them the actual story behind this, so they know personally what's going on in the pictures and what it's leading up to. And like, it's so weird for me because like my boyfriend, he will tell me all these stories that he comes up with in his head, and like, the main plot or something of the plot, or this is, he needs to figure out how to get them from point A to point B where he wants it to end and stuff. But for me, I keep a lot of my stories personal, and I get really shy about sharing them. So I know I will share the story with you guys when Inktober is done and over. And when I start planning out the actual comic that I want to do for it, I'm still deciding if I want to keep it a secret, because I could continue it for next year, in next year's Inktober. But yeah, but I might just tell you guys, because I do want to continue on with this story. It's something I do want to eventually sell and make a zine of or something like that. But yeah, so I'll tell you guys eventually, but I'll keep it a secret at least till the end of Inktober, and then I'll let you guys in on it a little bit, at least for what's going on in the story. But let me see. So this year's Inktober, I did decide to do something different. Like, if you go back on my Instagram, you'll see last year's Inktober pictures, or at least some of them. Maybe not all of them, but majority of them you will. I decided to do like a witchy theme, and I stuck to a theme, and I loved it. It was my favorite. And I love the things that I was able to bring into the characters as well. And like the different textures and ideas, like for smoke and stuff, like that gave me a good practice for this year for smoke at least. But yeah, this year I wanted to challenge myself. Like, I'd always had this idea in my head. It's like, I'd written a book when I'd first invented these little characters, and I got, it wasn't necessarily a book, but I got, so many chapters into the story, and I'd always go back and I'd edit things just in case if I wanted to change something up or something like that. At one point I had like over 30 chapters, and yeah, that ended. I decided I was picking up art more, and I got into comics and stuff. And then I was introduced into, so I was originally going to do it as a comic, and I'd started off as a comic, at least in that sort of theme style. And then I was introduced to manga, so I completely rewrote it into the new style that I was doing. And I never finished it. And then this year, I've introduced more characters that are part of that world that I finally thought, I was like, no, you know what? I'm already solid on what they look like. I want to do that story now. But I have to find the time, really. I've got school. I've got my business now, so it's not even the business, because I can always draw at any point, technically. But between commissions and stuff, but currently making things for the convention, that's what's taking up my time. So until all of this is all settled and everything like that, and I'm also looking into getting into First Fridays down here in Phoenix. It's once every first Friday of the month, so I'd like to get into that as soon as the con is over, at least, to get my name out there, to get my art out there. Like, yeah, that's my plan at least, so cross your fingers. But yeah, I think this would be pretty cool to actually get into and actually make a novel out of it. Like, even if it's just a graphic novel, I'll be happy with that, And if my characters will finally come to life. I think that's pretty exciting too. Or like one of the things that I look forward to. And that way everybody will know who they are, and they're not just some random person on a picture that I'm trying to sell, But yeah. Although they are currently some random people that I'm selling on a picture. But yeah, guys. Are you guys participating in Inktober or Drawtober or Goertober or any Inktober challenges that are going on out there in the world, all that good stuff? I like Inktober personally because it does push me out of my boundaries. Last year I was just doing, pretty portraits and pinups and all those pretty little character designs. And this year I'm pushing myself to try something different and actually do it in a painterly way instead of just, a simple little sketch and ink it here, make the tones here or there, like a normal manga or something would look. But yeah, I want mine to come out looking like little illustrations, I guess you could say. But anywho, I don't know. What do you guys like about the challenge? Whichever one that you're in for the month. Like, is it because of the prompts that you're doing, or is it because it's something that's new and challenging to you? I like both. Like, I have no quarrels with both. So that's why I'm kind of stuck myself if I want to do Inktober and continue this for next year, or if I want to go back and have fun, because I'm looking at all of these other pictures where they're doing what they want to do too, or even if it's just prompt or they're doing it on a whim or whatever. I kind of miss doing that. Last year I had fun with the prompts that I gave myself, but I wonder what it would be like without prompts, like just to do it on a whim. Like, what could I do? I could introduce color, all that good stuff, kind of like I did last year a little bit, because I did have color in some of them. But I'm not sure. I'm still thinking. I could even use a different medium too with my ink, like watercolor or like charcoal or something. I don't know. Those are things I'm always thinking about. But that's even still just a year away, and I have a year to think it out. Although this year I wasn't very good with that. I decided to wait last minute. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for listening to my rambles today. I will see you guys later. And I hope you guys have a great weekend and all that good jazz. And if you guys like my videos or anything like that, go ahead and like and subscribe. If you want to see more of my work that you won't really see here on YouTube, go ahead and check out my Instagram, my Twitter, or my Facebook. That's where I'm really most active currently because of Inktober. Other than that, you'll normally find me on Twitter just talking shit here and there and posting up my art. And also, don't forget, my shop is also open. I'm selling a lot of the things that I'm selling at con as well if you can't make it. So if you guys want some of that stuff and all that good jazz and those goodies, go ahead and check out my shop down below. It's the first link. And then after that is my social media. But yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in, and have a good one. Jamata!